Welcome to another Kentucky adventure with Journey Beyond Overland. For about the last month and a half, we've been sharing adventures with you along the Kentucky Adventure Tour, an almost 1,000-mile loop trail through the wilds of eastern Kentucky. We had every intention in mid-November of just going down and driving some more of the cat. But when Matt and Cara from Ozark Overland Adventures posted a video in early November that said this is the best off-road trail in Kentucky, well, we just had to go and find out for ourselves. So come along with us and find out for yourself. Is this really the best off-road trail in Kentucky? And as an added bonus, we'll even take you to see some of the best views in the Red River Gorge. We started out that morning from our base camp at Callie's Lake and Campground, and Bill would tell you that bacon is mandatory before you tackle a trail like this. We missed the first entrance to the trail, and it might have been easier, but this particular section made for great footage, even if I did have to walk across that creek. After you cross that first deep creek and join the main trail, it may lull you in with a false sense of security, making you think that this is going to be an easy drive through a few mud puddles. But don't let this 1.9-mile trail fool you. It's rated a level 6 for a reason.
Best trail in Kentucky. Should we headline this video the same way? Because it would make people look at it, it really would. Because it made me look at it again. It's like, oh, I remember this. I was looking at it again.
And just like that, this trail started to show just a little bit of its true colors. You see that nice mud hole down there at the bottom? That really isn't very challenging for the Jeep. But for the photographer? I'm just glad I didn't slip and fall down in this mess.
Those are definitely sandals. They're waterproof socks, and my feet actually feel decent, but yeah, that was kind of deep.
Although that mud hole may not have been a challenge for the Jeep, this little incline, it looked a lot more intimidating. This particular section didn't really look all that challenging, but if you'll notice, there's an awful lot of flex on that Jeep right now. And it surprised us because right about here, you can see that back passenger tire off the ground, which for a Jeep, it's pretty rare.
Got a tire in the air in the back there. Yes, you were.
This particular trail and many others in the area, it drives through an area known as karst topography. Karst topography occurs where porous rocks like limestone, dolomite, marble, or gypsum, they get broken down by water over time, creating fractures, which creates underground drainage systems. These areas are characterized by caves, springs, cliffs, steep-sided hills known as towers, and also places like this, disappearing creeks, also known as sinking creeks. You can find this type of karst topography in many places in the United States. Places like the Buffalo National River in Arkansas, Carlsbad Caverns in New Mexico, Cumberland Gap in Kentucky, the Everglades in Florida, the Guadalupe Mountains in Texas, Mammoth Cave, Kentucky, the Natchez Trace, which goes through Alabama, Mississippi, and Tennessee, and the Ozark National Scenic Riverway in Missouri. If you've watched some of our other videos on the cat, you'll know that we also explored another subterranean river and cave system when we drove between Callie's Campground and Estuary on the Kentucky Adventure Tour. Subterranean disappearing creeks like the ones in karst topography, while the longest one, it goes underground for more than 31 miles in Bosnia and Herzegovina. In the United States, the longest underground section is almost 20 miles, known as the Sinking Creek of Virginia.
That's cool.
I have no idea how far this particular sinking creek goes underground, but you will find evidence here of an old mine going into the subterranean river. Most mines in the area were for coal or saltpeter that was used in ammunition, but for this mine, I could find no reference. The road after you leave that disappearing creek behind, it's a little bit rocky, but nothing too challenging, and it will again lull you into that false sense of security, thinking that this trail has thrown everything at you that it can, distracting you with the beauty of awe-inspiring cliffs. But don't let it fool you. The biggest challenge is yet to come. This is not your average, ordinary, everyday incline. This is a steep incline full of slippery limestone. You know how they call that rock out west in the Moab area Slick Rock, but it isn't? This is what they should have called Slick Rock. Bill is definitely not the one to back down from a challenge, so of course, he had to try this several times. Unfortunately, that short wheelbase on the Wrangler, it just really was not conducive to getting up over these steps.
This is where Graham asked Shauna if he wants to have him go get his wee sister and get up there. Definitely her shot, girl.
After a couple of unsuccessful tries, Bill decided to try something completely different. So could you hear the difference? Because it's probably not something you would see here. And it kind of felt like cheating. But occasionally, you have to resort to extreme measures.
Well, I hope the winch works better in my life for the other day. That stink, it wouldn't even turn on.
Yes, that would be very bad. Jeez.
Need to lose a couple pounds there? Just a little bit of a narrow space right there. And yes, the camera is level, so it is off camber quite a bit.
We bought our winch soon after we started overlanding on a regular basis. As our build is a budget build, we bought the Badlands version from Harbor Freight. We've used this winch only a couple of times and never to extricate ourselves. So today was a different experience. The camera never does justice to the inclines, but this picture right here might give you just an inkling of how steep this was. Keep in mind while you're respooling that winch rope that you should keep your hand away from the intake so you don't get tangled up and injured. The instructions even say you shouldn't hold the rope at all while respooling, but we're still trying to figure out whether that would ever actually work. The rest of that hill wasn't exactly a walk in the park because there were plenty more of those slick rocks all the way to the top. But this time, the Jeep didn't need that extra help from a winch to make it up. I'm always looking for new and interesting camera angles, so we thought we'd try this one. And no, he's not driving as fast as it seems right there. At the top of that hill, we found the perfect place to stop, make lunch, and just enjoy a little bit of the sunshine creeping through the trees. I also spent some time looking over our downloaded maps, trying to figure out which was the most likely trail out. We definitely didn't want to go back through all those obstacles. Luckily, we found a nice, smooth trail along the Sheltowee Trace on the way out. as well as some unique places to stop to take video. So after seeing this trail, what do you think? Is this the most beautiful trail in Kentucky? Well, we haven't driven every trail in Kentucky, so I'd say the jury's still out. But this is definitely a top contender. After leaving the driving trail behind, we went to find another kind of trail. Now this one, it's really steep and boring, but check out the views on top. The Raven Rock Trail is a 3.5-mile trail that gains over 600 feet in elevation. It's an out and back. It's also the only private day-use fee area in the entire Red River Gorge. But that $5 parking fee on private property definitely is well worth these views. Thanks so much for joining us today on our adventure along one of the most beautiful trails in Kentucky, followed by a hike up Raven Rock. And I hope you'll come back again next time when we travel east from Jellicoe on the Kentucky Adventure Tour.
She has her ear.
Thanks for watching. Now go out and find your own adventure.